YouTube, Ylistys17 here, but you can just call me Travis, and welcome back for another collection update. Actually attempted to record this collection update video yesterday. I say attempted because I sat here and talked, but the video didn't record, so we're going to try it again here today. And then also, you'll have to forgive, this video looks like it's going to be really dark, even though I have the light bulb like literally like right here, like shining directly down on me. It's still like crazy dark for some reason, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to fix that. But we're not gonna do that right today, so let's just get going. In the background, we're listening to the new one from Exhumed, horror. Yeah, awesome stuff. All right, we got a bunch of CDs today, so let's get started. First one's up, new release from this year, and actually it's not even due out until the 31st, Halloween. It's the new one from Vaultwraith, entitled Light the Candle in Honor of Devils. And again, you have to forgive the darkness. This is the death metal band. I actually was kind of slow to get on board with these guys. I think I actually picked up their album earlier this year, I think even. I think it came out like maybe 2017, I want to say. Like I said, so anyway, like I said, death metal stuff, definitely in terms of, the Warlock, as he's known on this release, Willie Wardlaw, the way he writes music, for this album, like, there's a lot of, like, sort of, like, thrashy and really more so, like, kind of traditional heavy metal sensibilities going on in the songs, which I really enjoy, as you might assume. Particularly the leads and solos are pretty good. The solos specifically on All the Black Arts at Her Command, awesome. One of my favorites of the year. Just fantastic. Yeah, this is just a really, really awesome album. Produced by Billy Nocera himself. I do have to admit that my first visceral opinion when I first started listening to it was that actually that kind of felt like I didn't like the way the guitar sounded on the album. Specifically, that I felt like it was too quiet. There wasn't enough bite to it, and actually I kind of felt that way until I got to, I think, track 4? Yeah, 4 Beasts Before the Throne. Just comes right out the gate with a nice little catchy riff, and Vanessa's vocals just coming in hot, and it kind of made me realize, you know what, generally speaking, the guitar is like my 90% focus of what I'm doing when I'm listening to music, and actually the production that I was speaking of previously, it kind of made me appreciate this, actually, because it made me realize that actually what I really want to do when I'm listening to this band is I want the riffs to be there, I want them to be catchy, but man, I want them to be a nice little groundwork for Vanessa's vocals to come in and just rip shit up. As usual, as always with Vanessa's vocals, just awesome stuff. I actually do think there's a cool kind of actually dichotomy in Billy and Vanessa's vocals. He has a nice, cool, like, guttural low thing going on, and as always, she has that awesome kind of raspy snarl that I love. Anyway, if you like the first album, you're gonna like this one too, no doubt. It'll definitely end up somewhere on my top end of the year list. Yeah, released out through Hell's Headbangers. Light the Candle in Honor of Devils by Vaultwraith. Alright, next one up. This one comes out through Gates of Hell Records. This is also a 2019 release. This is Booze Control with Forgotten Lands. If you're not familiar with Booze Control, they are a traditional heavy metal band out of Germany. I think this is actually their 5th full-length album, I want to say. I'm sort of newish to these guys. I've sort of been aware of them for a few years, but I don't think I've actually ever listened to any of their stuff until this album. And yeah, it's pretty good. Really, really good on the riffs. The lead and solo work is really excellent. Vocals are also pretty strong. But yeah, just really solid, good, nice traditional heavy metal. So if you're into that, definitely give this album a shot, because you may be into it. It's Booze Control with Forgotten Lands. Kind of a fucked up praying mantis or some shit on there in the front. Alright, next few up. This is a really cool release that I got in lieu of Halloween. The label Future 80s Records released an awesome set of albums. A couple of these I already had physical releases of, but I couldn't pass it up. So anyway, that release, those releases are the Cluster Buster full-length albums. That's all of them, including They Call Her One Eye, which was the very first album from Cluster Buster, and it's never been previously released in physical format. So that's awesome. All of them sort of come in this sort of, you know, cardboard sleeve, and then it's on a faux, I don't know if you can tell or not, but kind of a faux vinyl kind of thing going on. It's okay. Just happy to have all of this stuff on a physical format, which is awesome. Let's go through them real quick. I think the first three were all released in 2014, I'm pretty sure. Like I said, this is the first one called They Call Her One Eye, which is based off of a movie. I think it's got several titles, but They Call Her One Eye is also one of the names of it. My DVD is called, man, what is my DVD called? Thriller, A Cruel Picture. Is that a movie? Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah. Yes. Oh, never mind. Thriller, They Call Her One Eye is the name of my DVD copy. Anyway, this is actually the movie that Quentin Tarantino says he based off. Now I'm blanking on the character's name, but the actress's name. Got a bunch of DVDs off the shelf, or not? California Mountainscape. As you can see, they both have They Call Her One Eye, as in she has a patch on her eye. Anyway, Tarantino says that was at least partially or whatever was the inspiration for his character in Kill Bill. Anyway, like I said, this is the first one from Cluster Buster, and you know, I can't speak to whether since we've been in Norway, I haven't said if I'm familiar with Cluster Buster. I'm unfamiliar whether this guy uses keyboards or like a program like a Fruity Loops or something like that, or maybe it's a combination of both. I'm not really sure. But anyway, I definitely can tell. And honestly, I think the songwriting strength is still there on this first album. But I think the technological aspect is. It gets better on the later albums. This album's still really enjoyable. I like it, but I definitely think like his samples or whatever you want to say are better on the future releases. So anyway, glad to have this one in the collection regardless. I've been enjoying it. Halloween's upcoming, so yeah, good to grab that one. This one's the second album. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this came out in 2014. Also, this one is entitled Maniac 1980. I think beyond the obvious Maniac itself reference, I think the cover also sort of references, I think Friday the 13th Part 2, I think is sort of what it looks like. Anyway, like I was just talking about with the first album, I can already hear some advancements in sort of the sampling or whatever on this record. Really like it a lot. Just really strong, awesome synthwave, which again, if I didn't say so and you're not familiar, Cluster Buster has a very much of a horror movie vibe to their sound, and yeah, it comes across really well in this one. Alright, next one up. This one actually had a cassette copy of. This is Total Terror by Cluster Buster. We're full on. Everything sounds awesome with this one. I've already listened to this a bajillion times because like I said, I bought the cassette sometime last year, I think. And anyway, this is just fantastic, awesome synthwave. Clusterbuster is one of my favorites, and yeah, this one is one of the reasons why. Total Terror, awesome stuff. All right, next one up. This one came out, I think, 2015, I think, maybe. Not totally sure. But this one's called Knee Deep in the Dead. This is actually one that is newer to me, along with those first two. But again, just awesome killer synthwave stuff. The horror aspect is at a full effect, and yeah, it's just awesome stuff. So if you're not familiar with this one and you're familiar with the other ones, don't hesitate. And then last but certainly not least, I already had a copy of this one too on CD, but it actually didn't have the cover art, so that almost in itself makes it kind of cool to have. This one came out, I believe, in 2017. This is Midnight Maimer. This is the first one I ever heard from Clusterbuster, and it's probably still my favorite. Just top quality synthwave with a heavy horror edge to it. So yeah, awesome stuff. I'll leave a link. Go check out this stuff out if you have never heard it before. Because maybe if you're just into sort of Halloween-esque music, you might like this too. Anyway, Clusterbuster, go check it out. So thanks to Future 80s Records for releasing all that material, because I'm happy to have it. All right, next couple up are some cool re-releases that I was super happy to be able to grab. Released through Amor Fati Productions, and that is these two albums from Finnish atmospheric black metal band Cosmic Church. All right, let's take turns here. This is the first debut album from the atmospheric black metal band. They had an awesome album from last year, something like Tatemus or something like that. That made my list somewhere, I think in the high 20s maybe. Anyway, this is the first one. This one's called, I'm sure I'm going to butcher this, Ylistys or Ylistys. Not totally sure how you pronounce it because obviously it's not in English. Fantastic album art there too. Anyway, this is awesome. So one of the best atmospheric black metal bands, I would say. Like in total, just awesome stuff. The music's fantastic. The shrieky vocals are perfect. It just gives you a very cool, atmospheric nature, snowy snowlands. What a great phrase. Snowy fields and all that kind of a cool mood. And yeah, thanks to Amor Fati for re-releasing these. I've been having these on my Discogs want list pretty much since I discovered the artist, and I'd been kind of waiting for reasonable priced copies to show up, which never happened. So, or at least if they did, I never saw them. So very happy to pay a typical CD price to grab these. Liner notes, by the way, super thick, barely can get it back into the jewel case. So yeah, Ylistys from Cosmic Church. And then next one up, this one's an EP, I guess they say, but it's over 30 minutes, so as far as I'm concerned, it's a full-length album. This one, awesome album cover. This one is called Vigilia. I'm going to go with, since I think it translates to The Vigil in English. This one, pretty much like the other one, awesome atmospheric black metal, just great sound, shrieky vocal riff sound, excellent, just a great overall a mood feel that you get when you listen to this album. There's our guy in red behind as well. So yeah, awesome stuff. I've been seeing these pop up elsewhere You don't have to necessarily import them from a Morphity like I did. I think I've seen them at Arcane Altar maybe now too. I'm not totally sure, but look around for it. Maybe it's in the States now. But anyway, had to grab these. Just awesome atmospheric black metal. And if you've never listened to Cosmic Church and you like atmospheric black metal, go listen to it now. You won't be disappointed. Alright, next three up, these all came from Hell's Headbangers as well. Yeah, let's go through them real quick. This one is the new one from this year by Advent Sorrow. This is Kali Yuga Crown. If you're not familiar with Advent Sorrow, they are a black metal band from Australia. Definitely has a heavy DSBM sort of a quality to it. It definitely sounds sort of in the like the Shining from Sweden, that black metal band, Nicholas Carforth, however you say that guy's name. That kind of, it definitely has that kind of a sound to it. So if you're into Shining, I definitely think you may enjoy these guys as well. Pretty solid album. I do have to say that I think I like their previous album, As All Light Leaves Her. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Yeah, As All Light Leaves Her. I think I like this one a little bit more. This one came out a couple years ago, 2016, 17, 15, something like that. But I would say if you do like that one, you're going to like the new one as well. So definitely give it a listen if you do. That's Kali Yuga Crown by Advent Sorrow. Alright, and then the next two are actually from the same artist. The artist being Ylistys Ghoules by, I don't know that is the name of the artist, so it's Ylistys Ghoules with two albums, Polish black metal band. This one's called Sinister or Treading the Darker Paths. This one came out, I think actually this year? Did this came out this year? I think it did. If it didn't, it came out at the very, very end of last year, but I'm pretty sure this came out this year. Anyway, and then the other album is, what is it? It's Henbane, or a Sonic Compendium of the Black Arts. I really enjoy that they always have sort of really long, elongated titles, or they at least seem to. I was only previously aware of this band through their 2016 album, I think it's called. Coven, Evil Ways Instead of Love, is that what it's called? I'm not gonna look for it. Anyway. So yeah, I finally decided I needed to get some more of this band's albums, so I grabbed these two, and yeah, I've been largely really pleased with them. One of the things I really like about this band is their lack of brevity. I wouldn't necessarily say that they're like a progressive band really, but they definitely do lots of different parts in the song. There's lots of different riffs going on. You know, I just kind of enjoy the constant change up, and which really to me just means more and more awesome riffs to hear. Along with that is the fantastic vocals done by the vocalist, whoever that is. I don't know if it actually says band members or anything in this release. Anyway, whoever does the vocals, they sound fantastic, very serpentine in nature. Man, it's freaking dark. I don't know if you can. I'm not sure if anything I'm showing you today really shows up. This probably shows up because it's white and you can see it better. But I'm sure some of this stuff is probably just blackness too. Anyway, awesome stuff. Happy to pick up a couple more of these guys' albums. I think they have a few more full lengths, maybe one or two, and then I think like 4 or 5 EPs or some shit. They got a bunch of other material that I gotta slowly start looking into. But anyway, happy to pick up these two, Sinister, and then a subtitle, and then Henbane with a subtitle from Ylistys Ghoules, which, by the way, I also think that's a fantastic band name. we got a few more left. We're done with the metal though. This next one up, this is an awesome album, UK electronic artist. This is LukHash with Better Than Reality. This is a new album from this year, and I really like this one a lot. And the main reason I like it is there's just a lot of really cool variants throughout the album. There's lots of like different styles of electronic music. I would say, generally speaking, the majority of it is synthwave, but it dabbles in other stuff too. There's definitely like there's like some dubstep stuff going on in places, some electro. There's even sort of like a sort of chiptune, Crystal Castles-esque kind of sounding stuff. Yeah, I just really enjoy the variants on the album. It's actually a fairly long album. There's like 14 tracks on it. It's just a really cool album. Like I said, it's just really cool. I enjoy the variants, and yeah, I just feel like I get a whole lot out of this album when I listen to it. Never get bored. Always something else drawing me in. So yeah, if you're in electronic music, definitely do not hesitate to check this one out. Released on Time Slaves Records. LukHash with Better Than Reality. Alright, next one up, and this one is fucking rad. New release by this guy who's awesome, and that is the second album from country artist Tony John. This one is entitled A Long Gone Memory / The Starborn Path. If you're not familiar with Tony John, like I said, he is a country artist, definitely kind of like a country, outlaw country, traditional country kind of thing going on. Don't quote me too heavily on that. It's not my typical style, so I'm not as learned in what to call stuff. But again, if you're not familiar with Tony John, it is actually Life Eternal on YouTube. So Anthony, you might be familiar with him. So anyway, this is his second album. He released his first one from the Northlands, I believe last year sometime. That one was pretty cool. Like I said, so this one's got two titles. It actually is sort of two different, I don't know if it's necessarily two releases put together as much as it's more that there's sort of two different ideas going on this album, so they're sort of separated by title in that way. The first half, which is called A Long Gone Memory, is what the first 7 tracks, and definitely has much more of like a what's to me sounds like a more traditional country vibe to it. Definitely kind of more sing-songy, I would say, than the From the Northlands material was. Maybe a little bit. Don't again, don't quote me too heavily on my descriptions here, because this country is not really my game typically. And then the second half, which is what, 5 tracks? Yeah, 5 tracks. The last 5 tracks has more of a folky vibe to it. He said it was a little more inspired by black metal stuff, and I can sort of hear that a little bit, I think, maybe. But yeah, I definitely enjoy the last half more than the first half. I really enjoy sort of the somber, so almost really super melancholic aspect to the last half, which I would say the melancholy aspect is probably something that's happening throughout the record, but I think it's much stronger on the last half. So yeah, I just really enjoy that. I really enjoy when Tony gets this really low singing voice. I think his singing voice in general is really cool, and it's very, what to me sounds like a very good country vocal. But I really enjoy when he gets really low, so that's pretty cool stuff. I also really just enjoy all the different instrumentation. I mean, just the stuff played by Tony himself: guitar, bass, vocals, banjo, mandolin, keyboards, and harmonica. So that's awesome. And then someone else even plays on the fiddle as well. So you got all sorts of different instrumentation going on, which I really enjoy. So yeah, that's cool. And also, by the way, Tony, you fucking hit it out of the park with this album cover. This album cover fucking rules. I think it works as a country album cover. I think it works as a folk country album cover. And I also think if you had released a black metal album, I think this would work as a black metal album cover. I just think your choice here, it just fucking, it looks fantastic. So yeah, shout out to you, Tony, for choosing awesome album art. So yeah, like I said, don't typically listen to a whole lot of country, but I had to support my guy. I was actually super pumped when I got to Bandcamp and actually saw there was a physical release that I could order. So did that immediately. And yeah, so yeah, if you're in a country, definitely go give Tony John a listen. You might be into it. Can't really tell you if you are going to be or not, but maybe you will. And if you're not in a country but you like Tony, go give the guy's record a listen anyway. Just support the guy. I did, and I'm pretty pleased with it. Like I said, country's not really my thing, but let's do it here and there on a very slight occasion. And when I do, I'm gonna be grabbing this. So yeah, A Long Gone Memory, The Starborn Path by Tony John.
But I guess I'll be alright.
And then he didn't have to do it, but he did. He sent some VCLT with it. Here it says, "Thanks for ordering my record, Travis. You are welcome. I've been meaning to send you a few things anyhow, so here are 2 CDs I think you might like. The first one, and by the way, I apologize, I have not had time to listen to either of these yet, but I will. Anyway, the first one, King Hitter, which this album is called, must be self-titled, I'm thinking maybe. King Hitter is a hard rock, heavy metal band that he saw live with Death Angel. So that sounds awesome. Obviously, I love heavy metal, so I'm going to trust Tony that I'm going to be into that. And then this is, what is this called? This is Elkenskaden, I believe is what this band's called. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. He says Elkenskaden is a French band that reminds me of Leviathan from California, which I assume is the Leviathan. Anyway, so I'll assume it's black metal. Looks kind of black metal-y. So yeah, I'll listen to that eventually too. Hope you dig it. Let me know what you think of the record. Tony, I think it's awesome. Obviously, again, not super into country, but from what I like in country, your stuff's right up my alley. So yeah, that's all I got. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you're familiar with any of the releases that I've shown here today, please let me know what you think of them. And otherwise, have a great day.